A major weather pattern change will be coming around the corner to the United States. In this video, I'll break down everything that you'll have to know. So first, let's start off with today's severe weather risk. We have a marginal risk for mostly for Chicago, El Paso, Denver, Albuquerque, and Colorado Springs. If any of my viewers watch from that area, should see a chance of marginal severe weather. Tornado risk relatively low. I wouldn't be surprised if a nice 2% gets issued right here due to the atmosphere getting a little more spin unstable. And then let's go to the wind category. Everywhere in the highlighted green is gonna you're gonna have a 5% chance for damaging winds, mostly for Chicago, El Paso, Albuquerque, Aurora, and Rockford. And look at the hail. It's the same thing, but if you notice, it stretches a little more out. Like you see this curve right here, and if you go to hail, it stretches a little more out in a less curvy wave. So if we head to day two's outlook, now you have like a little band of a marginal risk for mostly Lincoln, Lubbock, Amarillo, Scenic Falls, and Fargo. Mostly for these areas. The tornado risk relatively low again. I wouldn't be surprised if a nice 2% gets right here. Nobody hopes it happens, but it might be issued because again the atmosphere becomes a little more unfavorable as we go through. And look at the wind risk. It's gonna be for the same area, I believe. Yep, everywhere that you're in this marginal risk and guessing again in these same areas, you'll have that same wind risk. And if you look at the hail risk, it's a little shorter than the wind. It's it's weird. Every time I look at a wind and a hail risk of the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, this looks longer, right? And then y'all look at the hail, it looks shorter. And then over here, yep, yeah, it kind of looks a little wider. So just stay alert if you're in these areas. Let's talk about the latest temperatures. This is where a big weather pattern is coming into the United States, where we may have major changes to our temperatures. Is summer making a run back? It could happen. Today's high temperatures at the day I'm posting this video. You can look for relative 90s in Texas, where our weather base is at. If you're in Missouri, 97. Again, the same area like we talked about in the other weather forecasts. It's going to stay mostly hot, 98, 97, 95. Home base, 95. And then the rest of the country, and you see these little red spots, you should get some nice temperatures. Here in Nevada, I think this is, I don't know what this city is, but, or this little town weather base, 75 degrees. That's not too bad. Look here in the north, Maine could be getting some nice 60s in local spots. Up here in the northern plains, should stay relatively mild, not too hot. And then day two's temperatures, as you can see, it starts warming up a little more. You see that? That's where our big weather pattern is talking about. But look at this. You're getting a nice cool down if you're in Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Wyoming. It could be pretty nice in these areas. Again, home base 93. This area warming up to the hundreds again. Local spots in Illinois could get to the hundreds in these little patches of big white. And then the rest of the country stays relatively warm. Let's head to day three's temperatures. You get it gets a little cooler, except for these areas right here where we get 102 on the borderline of California, 93 and 94. But over here, you get a little cool down instead of 98 over here in Illinois, staying in the mostly up mid to upper 90s. Again, Maine, you get some nice 60s right here, like 69. And then Idaho, Montana, and Colorado. Y'all are gonna get the biggest cool down of this weather pattern, with temperatures maybe even sneaking into the 50s. So keep that in mind. Maybe at night you'll need a little light sweater, but not too bad. Day 5 is where we start warming up again, and you see this is also 56. I don't know because that's just mountains, but y'all in Colorado are getting a lucky cool down. Home base 94. This part of the country is staying in the 90s. Up here, 80s. 103. I feel bad for any of my viewers watching there. And then we start getting a little bit of cool down. You see a cold mass. Well, not a cold mass, but a little dip of little coldness could dip into the parts of northern. If look at the minimum temperatures, you can get into the nice 40s with that. Home base 74, right here, still saying in the 80s. Man, I've never seen. And then, not saying it's gonna happen, but if you look at this blue, it's a little below freezing. Y'all could get some below freezing temperatures if y'all are in Colorado. So y'all should be excited for that. Day 6 starts cooling down again. Look at that. It's coming down. You can tell also by the minimum temperatures. It's just look at that 39. It's gonna be nice and cool for y'all. And then lastly, day 7, you start getting more of that. But maybe in the coming days, I'll make another video forecast so we can watch this air mass move its way down. Precipitation, we should see a lot of it for Florida mostly. 24 hours. Again, for the New Mexico and Texas border, and in 48 hours going in, you can see a lot in the north. Snowfall, unfortunately, we're not. Oh, you could get a tiny bit of snowfall right here. Yeah, y'all could get a tiny bit of snowfall right here. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Ice, obviously not. It needs to be way colder to have any even chance of ice. Wind gusts, though, for today's severe weather threat could be mostly right here in these areas bordering. I think this is Kansas. I'm not good with my states. Kansas and Colorado. Oh wait, this is snowfall. And then 24 hours going into wind gusts, you can see a lot of here around the coast of the Carolinas, and mostly in these little red parts. So let's head to the tropical bit of this. This is our current satellite view of where it's looking at right now. And let's head to the forecast models. GFS, I think I know how to use this. Yeah. GFS, if you go through, it doesn't really show anything forming until you get, well, something right here. Look at that. It could form up into a low depression and will eventually crash into the United States. And then you have something, another wave gonna form right here, and then you also have a pressure of development right around this little circle. And going forward, it's unquestionable what's gonna happen. European model, on the other hand, shows a thing a little different, as it has this sitting there for a while, this low pressure. Eventually, still a little wave right around here, and then going forward, it crashes, tries to make a comeback coming into the back into the Atlantic, but is not able. And this is where it start not this system is forming from, but another wave could form big lines of storms that could end up forming something in the future. Euro AI, I like to use this. It is mostly pretty accurate. Euro AI has the same thing, this forming into a low pressure, but it goes more to the north. Y'all in New Jersey, the coast, could get impacted by this. While I think it'll crash right around here if it does end up forming, it could be for y'all in the north, so stay alert for y'all in the north. And then here comes our next wave coming around both from right here. This is one wave and this is another wave. They might get pulled to the north due to a trough. Yep, as you see right there. And then the other bit crashes into the United States. Let's head to the Canadian model, which I did confirm. This is the Canadian model, I think. And you see the same thing. It sees it also heading a little north, eventually making, and then you have two low pressures right here, trying to form something. So, and lastly, let's look at the icon, and rewrite the icon and start it up again. It shows that same thing. So we're almost every model is in agreement that this is gonna form up into something. keep going forward, it's gonna crash into New Hampshire and stuff, and then you can get something forming off of the Pacific. I will say though, the Pacific has been way more active than the Atlantic. The Atlantic has been relatively quiet. Again, and to prove that this something coming off Africa, there's a 50% chance underlined by the National Hurricane Center for a 50% chance in formation in 7 days as of, but yeah, as of right now, the time I'm posting this video. And then if you go to all disturbances, let's head for y'all in the Eastern Pacific. For my viewers that might be watching from Hawaii, you have a very active Pacific draw this year. You have a 20% chance that could slightly get pulled for a trough, so it could like barely miss Hawaii, but and then you have a 20% chance and then another 20% chance. So the Pacific is very active this year. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. We will have another video coming in the coming days. So for y'all viewers and today's marginal risk, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.